Morning, everyone. The Faulkner number 302 watershed drainage improvement petition. We're now open for that hearing, the first hearing. And I think everybody knows it, but just for the record, this was turned down earlier and it's been refiled, and so it's under consideration again. And with that, I'm going to go through what we will do today. Most of you already heard it, but I failed to go through it, so we're all on the same page. So there's a sign-in sheet that's circulating, and I know Jennifer went around the room, so I trust everyone has signed it. We will hear a report from the county engineer and Soil and Water Conservation District. There's a copies available of that report outside the hearing room here. Following the presentation, there will be a time for questions from the board. After board questions, the board will hear from any interested owners that wish to testify. Those in favor will speak initially, and then those opposed. Those speaking for or against the petition must be either an owner, as defined in section 6131.01 of the revised code, or an attorney representing an owner. Before accepting testimony for or against the petition, the board will acknowledge receipt of any landowner written testimony before hearing live testimony. We will first call on those wishing to testify in favor, as I indicated earlier, and then those opposed. Before testifying, you will be asked to take an oath, and after all those wishing to testify for or against the petition have been heard, there will be an opportunity for responsive or rebuttal testimony. We ask that you not be redundant. The board will close the public hearing after all testimony and evidence has been presented. After listening to the testimony and the report of the engineer, the board will decide whether to proceed with the survey and design or dismiss the petition. The board must consider the following factors in making its decision: whether proposed improvement is necessary, whether proposed improvement will be conducive to the public welfare, and whether the cost of the proposed improvements will be less than the benefits the improvements provide. If the board proceeds with the petition, the Delaware County Engineer will prepare plans, reports, and individual schedules of assessments for the project. When plans are complete, a final hearing will be set. Notification of the hearing will be given to the landowners, and the board will consider the project. If there's no other comment, we will begin. I'll turn it over to you.
Very well. Good morning, everyone. Scott Stevens, Administrator with the Delaware Soil and Water Conservation District. I will read the first hearing report for the Faulkner number 302 project into the record. This report has been prepared for the preliminary hearing on a drainage improvement petition filed by Calvin Finks on March 7th, 2024. The original petition has been signed by one individual representing one of the 32 parcels in the watershed. The course and termini of the requested improvements are quoted from the petition as follows. In Delaware County, Scioto Township, within the Faulkner number 302 watershed, and generally following, but not limited to, the course and termini of the existing improvements. The following is the nature of the work requested as quoted from the petition. For the improvement, correction of the drainage, both surface and subsurface, to a good and sufficient outlet by replacing, repairing, or altering the existing systems and as required, and or creating new surface and subsurface drainage mains or laterals as requested by this petition. There are currently tile blowouts, breaks on the Calvin Finks and Trevor Vining properties that are visible. Multiple repairs have been done on the Calvin Finks property. We suspect that the existing tile is plugged close to the new house road due to tree roots. Discussion with adjacent property owners for access to complete the repairs have been unsuccessful. Petition process. This petition has been submitted according to section 6131 of the Ohio Revised Code, which authorizes the Board of Commissioners to act on behalf of benefiting property owners to make drainage improvements. If the Board of Commissioners decides to proceed with a project, the costs related to the improvements and the development of plans, reports, and schedules are assessed to the landowners in the watershed according to the benefits received to their watershed acreage. These special assessments will be added to the property taxes for each property and can be spread over a maximum of a 15-year period. Property owners may also choose to pay their assessment lump sum payment prior to placement on their property taxes. Additionally, the improvements will be placed on the Delaware County Drainage Maintenance Program in perpetuity per Ohio Revised Code section 6137. And the annual maintenance assessments will appear on property tax statements as a special assessment in the same manner as the construction assessments. These annual maintenance assessments are generally in the range of 2 to 5% of the construction assessment. The decision to approve the petition project is a three-step process. First, a viewing of the proposed improvement is conducted for the commissioners to familiarize themselves with the watershed and general conditions. The commissioners conducted the viewing for this project by drone video on June 3rd, 2024. Next, a preliminary hearing is held to consider the initial feasibility of the proposal. It is this preliminary first hearing that is before us today. If this petition is approved, a final hearing will be conducted to further consider this petition. At that time, final details such as engineering plans and specifications, cost estimates, and a proposed schedule of assessments will be known. Existing conditions. The Delaware Soil and Water Conservation District and the Delaware County Engineer's Office have made the following observations of the watershed using on-site evaluation and a review of the available historic records, aerial photography, topographic mapping, soils mapping, and drone video. The Felkner number 302 watershed was defined for this hearing, measures approximately 203 acres. The current land uses in the watershed are predominantly agricultural, rural residential, and golf course. Improvements have been made in the watershed utilizing the drainage petition process in 1909. These improvements appear to consist of subsurface drain pipe installation only. The existing drainage system does not appear to be functioning at optimum capacity due to lack of comprehensive maintenance and generally deteriorated condition of the infrastructure. Numerous blowouts have been observed along the length of the subsurface drain pipe. This indicates potential structural deficiencies in the material and can be an indicator the subsurface drain system is not fully functional. These structural issues can also increase the frequency of surface flows or flood routing through the area as drainage water normally flowing through the subsurface drain pipe is forced to the surface. Additionally, disruptions to the natural flow of surface water through the system has added pressure to the subsurface drain to carry an increased flow amount. These conditions are all indicators of an overburdened, unmaintained, and aged drainage infrastructure. While the existing drainage system still provides some degree of drainage benefit, it does not appear to meet the specifications of a good and sufficient outlet for either agricultural or rural residential drainage. Estimate of cost factors favorable and unfavorable. Ohio Revised Code 6131 requires the county engineer to state in a report factors favorable and unfavorable to a proposed project, estimate the cost of the project, state an opinion as to whether the benefits of the project exceed the cost. The following information is presented for your consideration. Construction estimate. The proposed project would begin at or near the northeast right-of-way of Calhoun Road and extend upstream in a northeasterly direction approximately 3,700 feet. The major items of work would include the open channel reconstruction, surface drain shaping and grading, subsurface drain pipe replacement, clearing of brush and vegetated seeding, and mulching of disturbed areas, turf grass restoration, and the installation of erosion control measures. The project estimate. Construction, $111,060. Project administration, 10% of the construction estimate, $11,106. Drainage maintenance, per Ohio Revised Code 6137, first year startup, $5,553, which would be approximately 5% of the construction estimate, for a total project estimate of $127,719. Notes. It is important to understand that the above estimates are preliminary and made in the absence of current detailed topographic survey of the project area. The above estimate does not contain a contingency amount. The amount of necessary contingency would be evaluated as part of the survey and engineering design of the project and added to the estimate presented at the final hearing. Contingency cost is typically estimated at 15 to 20% of the final construction estimate. As an example, a 15% contingency would add approximately $19,000 to the construction estimate. Should the project fail to be approved at the final hearing, the benefiting landowners, as defined by ORC 6131, may still be responsible for the cost of the project administration, survey, and engineering design. Assessments. If the project moves forward to the second hearing, the Ohio Revised Code instructs the county engineer to calculate the assessments to individual property owners based on the benefits received from the improvements for the various properties in the watershed. ORC 6131 states that uplands that have been removed from their natural state by deforestation, cultivation, artificial drainage, urban development, or other human methods shall be considered to be benefited by the improvement that is required to dispose of the accelerated flow of water from the uplands. Benefits are further defined in the ORC as elimination or reduction of damage from flood, removal of water conditions that jeopardize the public health, safety, or welfare, and increased value of land resulting from the improvement. It should be noted that property owners are only assessed for those improvements that are located downstream from their properties. No property is assessed for improvements located upstream. The public agencies that own rights-of-way for public roads or other public lands are also assessed for both construction and maintenance costs in the same manner as private property owners. Individual parcel assessments are not calculated for the preliminary hearing and are only calculated if the petition moves forward to a second and final hearing. Factors favorable and unfavorable. Factors favorable: improved surface and subsurface drainage in the watershed, improved outlet for subsurface drainage components of household sewage treatment systems and for residential drainage systems, reduction of future deterioration of surface and subsurface drainage infrastructure, annual inspections, maintenance, and protection of the improvement in perpetuity. Factors unfavorable: temporary land use disruption during construction. Cost of construction and maintenance may be a burden to some landowners. Removal of existing trees and brush in the improvement area. Benefits versus cost. Assessments of property within the watershed are calculated based on the benefits derived from, as well as this contribution to the drainage system. The benefits to agricultural lands are realized differently from what is commonly seen for residential properties. However, both types of land use are commonly recognized to have benefit from a good and sufficient drainage outlet. A publication by the Ohio State University Extension titled "Returns to Farm Drainage" details several studies conducted by the Ohio State researchers on the effects of drainage on crop yields. The studies show that fields with good drainage will produce higher yields than fields that have poor drainage. A recently completed 25-year study showed that subsurface drainage increased corn yields by 24 to 39% and increased soybean yields by 13 to 46%. The same study also analyzed the return on investment for installing subsurface drainage in a field and found that corn, $4 is returned for every $1 invested, and for soybeans, $3 is returned for every $1 invested. There are approximately 27 acres in the watershed currently being used for agricultural production. The average estimated yield increases for the soil types present in the watershed, given the appropriate drainage improvements are in place, are approximately 46 bushels per acre for corn and 14 bushels per acre for soybeans. Using current 2-year average crop prices from the USDA National Agricultural Statistics Service of $6.18 per bushel for corn and $14 per bushel for soybeans, it can be estimated that drainage improvements can potentially produce an average annual benefit of $6,500. This estimate assumes that even distribution of corn and soybeans in the watershed. To state it generally, the benefits of drainage will equal the increased yield multiplied by the market price. The increased value or benefit to residential and commercial properties is much more subjective and difficult to quantify. The lack of adequate drainage outlet can dramatically affect the seasonal usability of a property and deteriorate the condition of household sewage treatment systems, potentially limiting the value of homes for resale. Should existing systems fail, the cost to perform repairs or construct alternate sewage treatment systems can range from thousands to tens of thousands of dollars. It would also be reasonable to consider the cost of environmental degradation due to residential sewage treatment systems that may not be functioning properly. Other benefits that are commonly perceived as a result of drainage improvements focus on quality of life and positive neighborhood perception. Communities that have a planned and maintained stormwater drainage infrastructures generally have a higher resale value than those communities that are known to have a history of drainage problems or flooding. Conclusions. Based on all the information gathered and generated for this project, I believe this project is technically feasible and would adequately serve the project area's drainage needs. The testimony brought to the board by landowners, however, as to whether the benefits of the project exceed the cost, should be given significant consideration in the decision to move forward with this project. Should the current petition be approved to proceed to a final hearing, the petition bond will be returned and detailed plans, specifications, estimated cost, and a schedule of assessments would be prepared. Additionally, a benefit versus cost analysis will also be performed to determine the feasibility of advancing this proposed project.
Okay, with that, any questions from the board?
Yeah, Scott, I had a question, a couple of questions. It looks like the agricultural use of this watershed is pretty small, maybe 27 acres, I think I saw, out of 200 and some, so maybe 13%.
It is, it would not be the predominant land use in the watershed.
Okay. Do you know if the homes along Newhouse Road have household systems, or are they connected to the Ostranders sewer system?
I don't believe any of those homes would be on a sanitary sewer system that I'm aware of. If there's any homeowners here that could
Okay.
speak more specifically, no, okay.
Okay, I thought
Yeah.
they'd be local systems, just household systems.
I don't think it's within their service area, within their footprint.
Right. Okay, that's all I got.
Mr. Lewis, you have any question?
No, nothing.
I have one,
Okay.
and I think
Yes.
I know the answer, but
Sure.
based on the hearing that was dismissed 6 months ago,
Yes.
the estimated costs are the same on this one as before. I assume that's just because of the time frame is fairly short? Because certainly inflation's played a factor, but,
No, I think the overall scope of work, as we presumed it to be at that previous endeavor in this first hearing, it's unchanged. That's where getting to that survey design, that field work in anticipation of a final hearing for us to refine that still would need to be done.
that's a good estimate in your opinion.
Yes.
Okay. With that, if there's no other questions, do we have any written testimony?
We had one letter turn in from a Marjorie Kessler, saying that she had work done several years ago on her driveway, but she didn't really put a yes or a no, so, but that was all we had.
Okay, thank you. With that, I think we're ready to
Very
move to
good.
testimony.
Thank you, Scott.
With that, we will have those speak in favor initially, and then we'll have those speaking in opposition. So I will ask you to come forward. I will give you an oath, and I will ask you to identify your name, your address, and if you know the lot number, the identifying number, I ask that you share that. It helps us to be able to identify the impact it has on you personally. So with that, anyone vote in favor of the petition, please come forward or raise your hand. Is he in favor?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
First of all, since there's two of you, I will swear you both in,
Okay.
and I'll ask you to
Swear us
identify
in.
both of you, and obviously you're being helping him.
Yeah.
And so first, before I swear you in, can you give me your names? Do you live in the same address?
No,
So you're just here to
I'm
kind
his
of,
daughter.
She's just here to assist him.
I'm sorry?
She's here to assist
Okay.
him.
Is there any problem with her being communicating?
She's not gonna provide any testimony, he's gonna provide it, so
Okay.
you just have to swear him in.
So I need you to give me your name, your address, and your lot number if you know it.
Give him your name and your address.
Calvin Finks, 3451 Russell Road, Ostrander, Ohio, 43061.
Do you know your lot number by chance? I mean, I think it's 13, but is that right, Scott?
Nine.
Parcel 9.
Parcel 9.
This would be one of the petitions, it should be highlighted in blue
Yes.
on your maps of the petition.
Okay.
Number 9.
Yes.
Yes.
Swear you in.
Yes. The blue, what Mr. Finks filed the petition, he's the blue on there.
Very well.
Swear.
Thank you. Okay, with that, I'm going to swear you in.
He's gonna swear
You
you
raise your
in.
right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, you can proceed.
Okay, go ahead and tell him what you want to tell him.
Hmm?
Go ahead and say what you want to say.
Well, the main tile actually goes under Penn Road, just barely to the far side of Penn Road. And we've been working on this for a year and a half. Mr. Bunny's son and said they'd take care of it after the soil and water meeting a year and a half ago there. And he has done some work on it, but I don't think he's hooked all the laterals up that goes into that main there. But I would like to have it under soil and water control because there's trees and brush in the fence row, and in due time it will be back hollering and take care of it today instead of having to come back and file petition again. Yeah. That's about the extent of it there.
That concludes your testimony?
Yeah.
I frankly had a little difficulty understanding you. I don't know if it would be appropriate if she kind of repeats it. Eric? Would that be appropriate?
That's up to you.
I want to make sure I understand it. So could you kind of summarize what he said for the benefit of the commissioners?
The main tile goes a little bit under Penn Road,
It goes to the far side of Penn Road.
goes to the far side of Penn Road, and then comes through his property and around.
Continues on down to Mr. Vining through the golf course and empties out down towards Calhoun Road there. It's
It goes through Mr. Vining's and through the golf course and empties out down on Calhoun Road.
Bobby Curtis fixed the tile on him on the golf course over a year ago. See, water's getting away that way, but we'll have to see what happens this other side there. Whether it is clean from the part that Mr. Vining fixed on to the road on his property or under Newhouse Road or anything. There.
Bob Curtis fixed a tile on the golf course, on Mill Creek Golf Course about a year ago. Mr. Vining has worked on his, but we need to see whether that gets the water away, whether the tiles have been re-hooked back up correctly, and whether all the tree roots have been cleaned out.
So you need to see if that works before,
Still like to put it under soil and water so that it remains clear, is what he's saying.
okay.
There's brush and trees in the fence row, and in due time it'll be plugged up there, so it's put it under soil and water and it's controlled, so it's taken care of.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, you said a lot of this work was done prior to this year.
A lot of
So-
work done prior to this year. The tile on the golf course, yes, it was done about a year ago.
Okay,
Yeah.
and the tile on Mr. Vining's property was done when, I'm sorry?
I know he's been working on it.
I have a full presentation to explain the whole thing.
Okay. Well, I just want to know if we've had, because we've had some rains, obviously, it's spring,
Right.
and this rains occasionally this summer. Have you noticed?
The tile is flowing now.
Well, we can't take your testimony at this point. I was just asking if you've noticed flooding this, since the work's been done, I guess.
Have you noticed any more flooding or anything since?
It's been dry.
It's been dry?
It's
Yeah.
been
Okay.
dry. Real dry.
Okay, thank
Have you
you.
noticed any more blow-ups out in the fields?
We've got 4 blowouts that I know of. And my grandson hit one of them last year and almost threw him off the tractor now. this is gonna cease.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right,
Did
thank
you-
you.
you didn't-
No, that's it.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak in favor of the petition? I'll ask that twice. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak in favor of the petition? Okay, let's move to those who are in opposition to the petition. If you would raise your hand, I will recognize you. You come forward and again, identify yourself, your address, and the parcel number, please.
Sit down, stay. If I may?
Thanks, sir.
My name's Jerry Vining. I live at 3902 Russell Road, Ostrander, Ohio, 43061. I'm here representing Trevor and Lauren Vining, who live at 3793 Newhouse Road. The document that I have just given you contains the work that was performed on the blowouts that Mr. Fink had talked about.
First of all, are you said you're representing them, are you an attorney?
No, I'm the original landowner.
So you have no interest in the property currently?
I have no interest in the property. Currently, it's my
I
son's.
don't believe we can let you speak. Is that correct, Eric?
That's right. Only owners can testify.
You have to be an owner or attorney representing the owner. That's the only way you can be allowed to speak. And that was clearly
So-
stated.
I can't speak as a citizen
No.
of the state of Ohio.
No, because you have no vested interest in in this project.
I paid for it. I paid for this improvement. I have a vested interest.
Sir, we're following the guidelines of the state, and our attorney says you cannot speak.
This is not an open public hearing. This is a public hearing for owners as defined in the statute. And if you don't have an ownership interest, you're not permitted to testify.
So how do I get this in the record?
Should this be returned to him, or is,
I mean, the owners of the property certainly could have submitted something in writing, if they were not able to be here. But it would have to come from them.
so I need to return this to him?
That's right.
Question,
There you go.
if I may?
Sure,
Sure.
we're just trying to follow the rules.
Oh, I absolutely agree with that.
Is it okay if you ask a question? You can, go ahead, ask your question. I'm not,
So the process, what will be the process to get this entered into the record?
well, I believe Eric stated that if one of the owners could submit it,
Okay?
is that correct?
Keep in mind that this is the first hearing. This is not, even if it were approved, which I'm not sure whether it will be approved or not, but even if the action were to approve the petition today, there would be detailed design work and then a second hearing, the final hearing, before it would be officially approved. So the owners of the property, you said is it your son, is that what you said?
Yes.
They would have another opportunity before the final hearing to submit any testimony, come to the hearing, or submit something in writing.
So today's meeting, how do I present an amendment to,
You can't today.
I understand that. How does my son, the landowner, how does he,
I think, Eric, go ahead and restate that.
again, I guess I'll rephrase my question. How do I get this as an amendment to whatever happens here today on the record?
So the instructions in the notice state that any written communication should be submitted prior to the hearing.
Okay?
So anything in writing, it's not going to be accepted, because it needed to be submitted prior to the hearing, or the owners can appear at the hearing and provide testimony. Those are the two options.
Okay. So this can't be presented until the next hearing? I see a yes,
Yeah, I mean,
but I
that's-
guess the information has to
I
come.
think-
He's in charge, right?
Well, he's the attorney, he knows.
No, no,
Again,
I'm
he's
not
in charge, right?
No, he's not in charge.
No,
but
I'm not
we-
in charge. I'm advising the board.
Okay.
They can answer that question for you.
Okay.
So I think it was clearly stated your son could provide that for the next hearing. There's not gonna be anything decided today other than whether we proceed to a second hearing or not.
Okay, so I have a question. You're in charge of the whole?
Sir, you need to direct your questions to us.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
the name of the man that's in charge of everything that's going on here today? That, from water and soil? His
He's
name is-
representing Soil and Water and the
Yes.
county engineer today.
Yes, can this be presented to him?
What you do privately is between you and he.
Okay.
It will not be part of today's testimony
Okay.
or part of today's hearing.
That's fine, but there's nothing legally that I can't sit down and talk with him and talk with the neighbor that precedes me from doing that today.
No.
Well, not during this hearing.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Okay, anyone else who'd like to speak in opposition to the petition? Is there anyone who'd like to speak in opposition to the petition? Okay, Scott, why don't you come forward? I do have a question for you. There was testimony given that some work was done in this area and it may be corrective. So if that was the case, the estimate would simply be the maintenance going forward. Is that correct?
Well, if we find work, if there's been maintenance activities, tile repairs, whatever it may be, if we find that during the course of the survey design, and we find that work to be satisfactory or something we could work with or incorporate as part of our future planning, then we would certainly do so. If landowners have records of those maintenance activities or some specific information that they'd like to share with us, it's practice for us to reach out to all the landowners in the course of potential construction to try to learn as much as we can about the existing conditions, repairs that have been done, whatever it may be. So what we would be, that's part of that process, that survey design, the engineering process. We have extensive contact with the.
And that could positively impact the
Sure.
estimate if that in fact is true.
Yes, so if we find satisfactory work out there, then obviously we wouldn't remove that tile from the ground. We would work with that, assuming that it's on the grade and sized appropriately towards the in consideration of the engineering standards that we would use. Absolutely. The overall value of the project, that maintenance base, as we refer to it, we would incorporate that in. We would account for that. We wouldn't leave that aside from an overall value maintenance base of the project, though.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I would like the clerk to read in the matter of proceeding with the project.
Resolution number 24-608, in the matter of proceeding with the project survey and design for the Felkner number 302 watershed drainage improvement 2024, petitioned by Calvin Feeks.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded.
Yes, the only way we're going to resolve this is to let Soil and Water go ahead and do a project survey and design, and then let's see where it falls. And then we can take it to the next hearing.
Yeah.
The purpose of the commissioner's role in this, does the proposed improvement is necessary, whether the proposed improvement will be conducive to the public welfare, and whether the cost of the proposed improvements will be less than the benefits the improvement provides. I think enough information has been provided today that justifies going to the next level, but there's still questions to be asked and to be answered, and that will be determined between now and the second hearing. And with that,
No, if I could have a comment, please. I do have doubts about whether the cost makes this project worth it. But I think, given that some work has been done, and I guess we really need to get Soil and Water and the county engineer out there to verify if that's enough, if that's adequate, if there's, an adjusted cost estimate, because I think 115,000, whatever it was, 127,000, it seems like a lot of money for 27 acres of ag. I know there's other use and so on. So there's still, I have concern about the 127,000 exceeding the cost, or the benefit exceeding the cost. But I do think that there's still work to be done, and verify if that cost could be scaled way back, and in which case, that'd be good. But I would encourage the parties involved to work privately to try to resolve this. It sounds like you've made some progress in getting some things done, but I would encourage you to continue to do that.
Yeah, the actual cost will be yet to be determined based on the comments, the questions I asked and
Right.
were asked by others. So I think there's enough information to move forward to a second hearing and a call for the vote.
Vote on motion 24-608, Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye,
Would the board wish to adjourn into executive session now?
we do.
Resolution number 24-609, in a matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of pending or imminent litigation.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 24-609, Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
With that,